Hello everybody, welcome to the 7th part of Music and Myth, and in this episode I'm discussing the Ionian mode. Difficult to say that, I'll put my teeth in properly. So what's the Ionian mode? Well, I'm calling that the music of home. In Greek mythology, particularly home and hearth, that's more what it's about. That's, say, after the big adventure, the hero's tired and he just wants to go home, and so the last episode we were talking about the Locrian mode, about how it's about disorientation and you're not sure whether the adventure was a dream or not, but this is the point where having acted on all that information that we brought back, that society's now been reborn, if you like, sort of restored. Now, I mean, I could have started the whole cycle with the Ionian mode, because really all it is, it's just like it's just a major scale, and in the key of C, the notes are quite straightforward. It's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C again. But it just has that sort of peaceful, restful feel about it. Now, the thing is about, like, with this like Return Home, it's kind of imperfect, because the cycle continues, you know, that after the Ionian mode then we move back on to Dorian mode again. So each adventure singles out like bringing back some knowledge from the other realm, and then integrating that with this world, and there may actually be some conflict involved there as well, like that having brought this information back, how do you actually convey that to people? I mean, part of that was covered during like the Locrian mode discussion, you know, this whole thing about disorientation, because a lot of the time people might not actually want to listen. I mean, this is like in the Grail myths, you know, without bringing Monty Python into it. This whole thing about, first of all, you have to know what the Grail is, what it looks like, you know, and then of course find it wherever it is. But once you've got that, then how do you come back and explain to people, oh yes, look, here it is, I've got the Holy Grail, this is the answer to all our problems, without being a laughingstock, you know? So so that's the main challenge, like with the coming home myth, you know, because everything, like, because you're home, a lot of the actual the fantasy elements, they kind of dissolve. There's no real need for them anymore, you know, because all the problems of that cycle, or that particular cycle that you've undertaken, all those problems have kind of been resolved through the hero. Another example, you think about, like, with Gladiator, you know, at the end, like that Maximus, all he wants to do is just go home and be with his family, and and it finishes like there's a kind of a balance where, you know, he's defeated he's defeated the, you know, the emperor, and yeah, Commodus, isn't it? Yes, yeah. He's defeated Commodus, and he's become a hero. But of course, Commodus cheated, and so that moment where like the hero dies, and he has that vision of being back with his family, you know, on his farm in Spain somewhere. That there's a kind of a balance there. So quite often, like the homecoming point might actually signal the end of the hero. That, you know, that the hero might actually die, but it's a heroic death. It's not something to be mourned over necessarily. More of like this idea of celebration. You know, that's, you know, that you know, that he's kind of like fulfilled his destiny, or he's fulfilled his journey. Now, of course, he may undertake another journey on the next cycle. We've got some more things to say, but I mean, I might be taking a bit of a break, you know, after these 7, just to see how we do. But it's also the Ionian mode is also used in like fanfares and marches, and like with military brass bands and things like that. Now, why is that important? Well, quite often, you know, there's a propaganda element to you know, like military marches. You know, that you know, with these sort of big bombastic marches, we're being told that everything is fine when it's not fine. You know, so that might trigger like another hero's journey cycle from that. You know, trying to overcome what it is that feels empty, you know. But there are also some other examples that, you know, that I want to give. I mean, one is by Eric Satie, which is the Gymnopédie number 1. I don't know if you know this one. If you can just alternate those chords, that's C major 7 to F major 7. And then we go. Like that. Yeah, I'm tempted to want to improvise on that, but so that's one idea. Another one is what? Chariots of Fire. Yeah, Chariots of Fire by Vangelis. Yeah, so that's one. And then, of course, I was talking about like this sort of patriotic, bombastic anthems. There's the Pomp and Circumstance March by Elgar, better known as Land of Hope and Glory. And so on and so on. So the thing about like the home, like all the other stages in the hero's journey, it's transitory, because you have that moment of peace, you know, where everything is calm, or like you're coming back from a battle, or there's been some conflict, or you know, there's been some other issue. I mean, like in things like Chariots of Fire, I mean, that's about like runners in the Olympics, isn't it? So there's been this victory, and you know, But in some ways we kind of have problems with like words like triumph and victory, because they kind of have like a political overtone to them, and it's not always comfortable. I think that's really what I'm getting at there. So the thing to remember like with the Ionian mode is like it's the first mode because because it's like it's the C major scale, but it's also like the last mode because like it's the home and the hearth. It's it's being back home. But then again, I mean, like think about I don't know if you had much of a Christmas this year, but sometimes like you're back home with a family, and then if you're staying too long, then people start getting on your nerves, and and you can't wait to be back at work or or whatever. So there's always this urge to want to move on as well. It's the thing to remember. Like with the home and the hearth, that is just a transitory stage, like any of the other points. I'm going to leave it there. So I certainly hope you've enjoyed this. And I'm just going to like conclude this block of 7 episodes by saying that it's important to work on the modes. And if you have like these mythical underpinnings, if you like, these mythical ideas as you're working on them, if we're working on them regularly, then it's going to help. It's going to help. Certainly going to help you as a player, but it's going to help you psychologically too. Because you're not dwelling on one thing or one specific mode. You're actually working through them all and then seeing how they're related. So yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching. Please comment below. I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.